right, good morning, my neighbors. Welcome to another episode of BYTTT. Before you take the trade, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button. That way you can know when I'm dropping all these gems and continue from there. So let's go ahead and get to it because I'm running a little behind. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is pull up the chart. Looking at NQ. NQ looks like we're going to give a little bit of a pullback, but with a very bearish move on the news report, we're probably going to be worrying about a nice opportunity for us to take it back up to the upside, because a bearish dollar usually means that the market is going to go ahead and start rallying to the upside. So we'll see what happens there. Bear with me. So if we can get this to kind of form a base somewhere around this area, we could get ourselves a nice little push up. So we'll see what happens there. Another one that I'm kind of very intrigued about, we're going to get oil inventory today. So if you want to see oil get up and break through this level, a good catalyst like oil inventory and oil reports and news, we're going to go ahead and get a nice little break into this area, or we're going to get a complete drop through this order block. We've been sitting on this order block for a few days. We got about 5 days where to build it, about 3 days of testing it. So this is going to be very interesting on what oil does here. So for your ZOMs and your XOMs and everything else, this is probably going to be a real key point for you to be able to play oil. And then the last one is, look at gold. That thing gave everything back. Let's go ahead and wipe this drawing. This is very interesting because we had a nice little rally on this push up, and then right here we kind of peaked out. So this thing did look like it was just going to continue to test and probably get out of that 2700, maybe get back up into that 2800. And no, it kind of ran out of steam. Let's pull this back a little bit. Why am I talking about 2800? Well, this was the area right here. So if this actually starts to fall, this W doesn't really play out. That's going to be very interesting. Kind of wait to see if this gives us that setup, and then we could make our plays maybe to the downside if this thing continues. But we are still on the bullish side, especially if you look at the weekly. Gold has been in a tear for a long period of time. So is this part of the pullback? So that way they can go ahead and continue to attack this and make the weekly continue to the upside. Maybe, but again, the goal is to trade your plan, not your money. All right, so let's go ahead and get into some tickers and see what's out there. Let me see. Let me refresh my screener. Okay, that one's good. And I think I want to kind of touch on, I might go CMG. Let's go CMG. Chipotle. If you don't know this company, this is the company that does fast food, Mexican food. Let's get this up into a weekly because I'm very curious of what happens here. So ever since the stock split here, we had a nice little push to this downside, right? But we kind of found a little bit of a support. We're coming up on earnings. This earnings, solid. New revenue, 2.9, 2.97. This one here, they did not guide their revenue higher. It's actually lower. And then they missed on revenue, but they still found a way to manage the business and still return money to their shareholders. And then this one right here, they're anticipating more in line with what they estimated, but a slight up. And then they're anticipating this type of EPS, which is slightly down. So I think a lot of this price action is them kind of consolidating because this is kind of sideways on the EPS. So if that is the case, if we get a strong explosion back where, hey, you know what? Here's a surprise. We went ahead and gave 200% of what we estimated on EPS, either through proper management of the business or whatever the case may be. And the earnings is on February 4th, so it's the first week of February. There's a strong possibility this could give us a nice little catalyst to push this right to the upside and maybe get some new highs. If you don't know about Chipotle, well-ran company, they make money, and they always had like a 5,000 level. But you can see right here, we're in that bearish state on the daily. But generally speaking, this is what Chipotle has done. It has been in this bullish side ever since here, roughly around 2018 into 2020. They've just been in this tear to the upside. So I really want to see Chipotle give us a nice little move to the upside before this happens and that turns into an evening star. So we'll see what that monthly looks like along the way. Let's go ahead and keep this going. Another one I'm looking at is Waste Management. Waste Management had a nice little push. I did kind of warn. I was like, kind of got away from my trend line. I should have been in roughly around that breakout to here. So I kind of sat on the sidelines. I would love a nice little reset of this oscillator, maybe a breakdown, get inside of somewhere in this zone of a bump and run, and then it catches, and I'll probably play it to the upside. It's still kind of bearish on this side, but they have earnings on January 29th, which is next week. So this one could probably play a little bit of a factor on how Waste Management moves. And then one more out of my screener. Let us, I haven't seen this one in a while, but it doesn't move well, not for options. Now let's talk healthcare. Let's go with AbbVie, ABBV. So here's AbbVie. You already know a lot of them are competing with like Eli Lilly and everything, all in that weight loss space. I forgot what they call it in their medical terms, like DLP2 or something like that. So there's been a lot of competition. So a lot of people invested in a lot of these companies, anticipating that they can strike the Eli Lilly lightning strike one more time, and they're failing to do so. So you can kind of see we had a strong resistance on AbbVie here. Looks like it's back at support. So I'm looking to see, can they hold this level, especially after paying out $1.64 in dividends. That can they hold before earnings? Let's see how the earnings was forecast. 2.9, slightly under than their reported revenue, kind of in line. So yeah, I want to see what this earnings is going to do. So actually, you know what, let me put this in my red list. All right, that way I can keep an eye on that one. Okay, all right, if you have any tickers you want me to look at, by all means you can go ahead and put it in the chat. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and take a peek at my green list and see what's going on over there. So my green list is a little bit of my things that I think is coming up for earnings. We already see what happened with Netflix. Let's look at Nvidia for a sec. All right, so Nvidia got earnings that's going to be out in late February going into March, and you can kind of see we had a nice little push off of the support. So I guess we got ourselves a key level right here around that 120, 130. We'll see what happens with that, because we are on a microtrend. This is your microtrend right here, and you got a slight deviation of that microtrend right here. And if we can hold these areas, then maybe we could go ahead and attack this area right around here. That is their all-time high around that 153, and get a nice little push. Remember, Nvidia is a monster, so I don't know if I want to play too many bearish moves on it, but you can kind of see this weekly is kind of bullish. This monthly has been hella bullish. Come on, give me my data. Don't be difficult. There we go. Has been hella bullish. So this daily, could this daily be just a little bit of a relaxation, so that way they can go ahead and attack that? We'll see. We're down pre-market 144 right now. So if they don't fill this entire gap, I will assume we'll consolidate until we come to this trend line, and then we'll just explode to that upside. So we'll see how that ages. We got AAL on the chat. All right, so let's check that out. American Air. Oh, I have not looked at American Airlines in a long time. Oh, wait, but they had earnings today. So I'm assuming this is probably going to be an IV flush play. Let's see. Weekly, nice little push. Got a fair value gap that's down here. Right there, right there. Okay, so I would say maybe like a $15, $16 contract would have been great to kind of play that down. Again, it's kind of a push, but it needs to relax, because that stochastic is not following this move here. Look like they try to push it back up, but this thing has been pinned to the roof. It needs some type of relaxation. Yeah, I'm starting to see some more bearish divergences here. This could be that play. If you can get a cross down on this MACD on the daily, yeah, we're probably going to go right here. I would say maybe an entry 1735-ish, maybe. And then I'm just going to target this 50% pivot here, like around $16. If that thing blasts through, that's great. But yeah, I'll probably be right here trying to recapture, looking at momentum to carry that. Especially with this open, 17. Let me look at the pre-market. I know y'all use pre-market levels. Let's take a peek. No, they trying to get that thing back up. They did not want to come through that fair value gap. Let's see how it opens. I would say if that thing starts to get inside of this, and this look like it's going there, $18.38. Ooh, that might be a little jerkish. They might have came in and picked up some dark pools so that way they can get back up here into that $19. Might have to play it to the upside. But we'll see what happens. It is in the bearish state down here on the 30-minute. Let me see what the 1 hour has. Got a bearish. And then 4 hour. Yeah, you want this to be around 12, 11, 12 o'clock. You want this to be above $19 by then. That would be a choice situation. Nice. One way or another, that thing's gonna get flushed. All right, Royal Caribbean. I like Royal Caribbean. I don't like it at these high prices. I put this on my green list because I did miss out on, I think it was either August or October. One of them I was looking at this chart. No, it was August. Because I remember we was going to play it to the upside roughly around July. And I was like, it's towards the end of the month. And I pulled back and I said, oh, they're building this support right around here. And then this was a Thursday, Friday. And then I was like, wait, I don't want this gap down to kind of get me, and I left it. So good thing I did not jump in for this. But then that Friday, I was like, there's no way it's gonna go where right here around this area and this area. So I chose this area of support, and I said there's no way it's gonna go down to this area of support, and this bad boy almost got all the way down that he used this as an order block. I kind of got scared. I stopped watching Royal Caribbean because I thought it could just dump even further. But this thing took off. So you're talking about from 134, $100 move ever since that August 5th buy up. So I do feel like I kind of dropped the ball on that one. So I do have it on my watch list. I don't like this 236. I want to see what happens with this earnings. We got $5 here, but this one says 1.4 here as they go into the winter season. No one really cruises in the winter season. Revenues are going to be down, and you can kind of see that. It should pick up by the summer, so we'll see what happens with that. So this one's on my green list to see, are we going to break this down, or is this really a bull flag in the making? And we'll see what happens there. All right. It's 8:57. Let me give one more for my green list. I think we'll go with Meta. I'm eyeballing Meta. So right now, Meta... this is when I was looking at M patterns and everything else that Meta was supposed to drop. Yeah, I had some locked in ones. Yeah, we can remove them. Very old. It kind of looks like a diamond pattern. Very interesting. Earnings is going to be January 29th. So that's coming very soon. We got a nice little push up. This thing can push tech up very easily. Let's look at a higher state. Let's go to weekly. Let's see what they have here. So here's our October pivot right here. October. This should be our August. Here's our August one right here. So we kind of riding this here. So it kind of looks like a rising wedge type of action here. See if we can break through this level here at 627. We're currently like 623. As long as we don't test 587, I think we should be fine. So I think this is the range that we're kind of dancing on. But with earnings coming up, I think that consolidation is going to be deeper and more violent. Earnings, they're anticipating more coming in, and even revenue. So this could be a good little setup of consolidation until we make new highs. Look for possible Meta above. Wow, I don't even believe I'm saying this. I don't even like this company. I think Meta could get to 660, 670. Let me do this in the most professional way. Let's do this and put in my profit taking version. Yeah, 660 on the dot, like somewhere around this level, especially if we keep on holding this, we consolidate to this trend line. Yeah, I know I'm looking at the weekly, and it's probably something that's going to pan out like later on in 2025 going into 2026, but depending on how that earnings report is at, they're going to try to price in a lot of that value in. So I would love to see what that earnings report. Actually, I'm putting this in a red list now. Forget that. Let me see what happens there. I'm going to keep a closer eye on that one. Okay, all right. Any other tickets you can? Right now, we're gonna go ahead and talk about what this floor is about. This floor is very simple. We don't make things complicated. I prefer NQ because I love the Qs. I know some people like ES, but what I'm about to show you is pretty much what you can do with any tickers in itself because it's very simple along the way. Like when you're taking your trades, you want to make sure that you have some type of structure that you're okay with. That way you can take those opportunities. So as we look at this chart, you can kind of see that the market kind of stays in these ranges. Most of the time it stays in ranges. So we operate with a 15-minute order block breakout, which is an orb. A lot of traders use it. Everybody has their own variation on how they use it, how they play it. Mine is nice and simple. We block out the first 15 minutes of the opening. We wait for the 5 minute to close above it, and we just play in that direction or below it, depending on its respectivity. So we'll see how this pans out. I want to use yesterday's price action for an example, so that way you can kind of see how it works. So this is our 15-minute chart. Our market opens up at 9:30. Somebody's really trying to get in touch with me. Oh, you know what? I'll call them back. All right, 9:30. Let's see, where are you? All right, so here's our 9:30. Really? You think so? Yeah, it can. And that's the funny thing about it. I'm hesitant to call it a bear flag because the daily looked like the party just started, and I don't want to, set up for the okie doke, right? Because it's very interesting what they're doing. So here will be bullets above here and bears below here, right? So what he's saying in the chat is it is a vibe. It is a very bear flag vibe. If we take this chart like this, that looks like a perfect setup for a bear flag. You got yourself a nice little pole from here, and then this is your flag. Come on, get up there. And then this one right here. Right? This is your bear flag. So the problem why I don't like this bear flag is because if they invalidate this by going through the 618 at any given time, come on, get there, right? If they get past this level, which it's very possible we can get past the 21,925. Not only most bear flags are invalidated at the 50%, which would have been here, but we wicked it. It's, again, we gotta go over to the daily. What's making us bear flag is because we get resistance. If we get resistance, who's causing it? It's the daily. Do I want to go against the daily? Not really. Not really. So I would say yes, it does give bear flag vibes, but let's be very, very conscious about it. I want y'all to catch falling knives. All right. So boom and boom. All right. So here we go. So yesterday's price action, when we kind of broke out of this area, it gave us a nice push up. I kind of played a good chunk of this push up. I think we was on live. Yeah, I made like about $175 with this one. We was on live. Had a nice little move to the upside. It was later on in the afternoon on one of my other evals. I got another 5% of the portfolio, and I'm getting that closer to being funded. So this was a nice, when I say nice move, a really, really nice move. But this was the attack to try to get the new highs. As soon as I noticed we wasn't breaking above 2100, I got out the way and I let everybody else have their fun. And we had a nice little drop. This is a good bear flag that happened around 10 o'clock. And then we did another drop. And here's our second bear flag. If we get this drop, this thing should fall something vicious. The reason why I don't believe we're going to get the drop, and, again, I don't want to give y'all too much to think about, but how I kind of trade and how I learned how to trade, I learned a lot of different techniques. I've been spending a lot of time just removing all the techniques out of my head. But now that I'm kind of in tune of my identity, I don't have to actually feel so paranoid about it. So what I'm going to break down to you is that this looks very much so like a version of Elliott wave, right? And I'm going to point this out. So the biggest problem that we have here, if we were going to play this down, is that we should have had a 1, 2, 3. Now, you can argue that this could have been your 1, 2, here's your 3, 4, and then this is your 5. The middle one cannot be the shortest, and you can kind of see this is not really the shortest, but it's kind of in line with this one. that means the move is completely done. All right, cool. If it's completely done, then I shouldn't be worrying about playing it to the downside. But wait, so we got another one. We got, what if this was the impulsive move? And that's why I don't like Elliott Wave as a primary confluence item, because it's very subjective. Here's this one here, and this is your second wave here, and then we're not done to here. But wait, that means this is the shortest because this one is way too long. So that can't be the case. So you got to kind of like pick your poison and make sure that you know I have conviction based on the parameters that you have set. But if you're going to go with proper Elliott Wave, I think this is a 15-minute Elliott Wave that is completed and done, and it's not going to fall, and we're going to continue to the upside, only because the original one that I kind of pointed out, which was actually, let's do something fine. Yeah, not that one, that one. Yeah. Good old Control Z. The one right here tells me that this is complete. So if that means if that's complete, then that means we got to get an ABC. So could this be your 1, 2, 3 corrective? Very possible. But wait, the other part of Elliott Wave is too short. So that means this should be an extension of 3. So again, I know I probably went completely over your heads, and I apologize for going into detail, but this is how I kind of see the market, especially when you come into these higher time frames, like a 45-minute. Look at that. That looks very bearish. If you go to a 2-hour, that looks very bearish. If you go to a 4-hour, oh my God, the bears got control. Like, these things are the questions that you have. How much control do they really have? Well, we're coming from a very bullish move, so they're just getting the party started, and we're still in the bullish state on the 4-hour, and the daily looks like the party just started. So could this be a pullback? I'm leaning on yes. I am leaning on yes. And this could be a pullback, and we'll have to see how the market reacts at the open. So we got about 24 minutes until the market opens. If you have any other tickers, by all means, perfect time for you to go ahead and share. If not, I am going to go back into one of my lists. We're going to go into my red list and go check out some of the stuff that's going on over there. Which one is giving me problems? Oh, Tesla is actually, you know what? Let me come back to my income strategy. I know I kind of talked about it earlier. It looks like they're dropping off pre-market, which is being annoying. Again, this is a Tesla follow, so you look at Tesla, and Tesla currently is up pre-market. So this could be just people taking their money. Why? Because this is an income strategy. So this one, if you don't know what you're doing, be very careful, right? This one pays out dividends today, so people are probably getting out of their shares right now as they went ahead and collected their dividends, and they're happy. They're running away, right? So that's okay. But this one is a nice little push down. I'm thinking we're going to hold this support. If it doesn't hold this support, it probably come back down to this lower level, and we'll see what happens there. All right, so actually I'm curious on Tesla. Let's look at Tesla real quick. Let's get all this out the way, start all the way over. In a bullish place, like that. Earnings 0.76, earnings 0.72, so they're expecting an increase in revenue as well. All right, so they missed revenue in last earnings. I do have an alert because I think we could break out of here and probably come up into this upper register and get into that 500. Is it more risk to reward playing into the downside? Absolutely. But again, I do not play to the downside unless it gives me some type of confluence. Do not just go ahead and run and take some Tesla puts. Be careful there. But we got a nice little move right here. And I think what we're doing is consolidating right before earnings. Earnings is going to be on the 29th. So just make sure you bear yourself properly as far as which structure you're going to hold. I would say if it breaks under 388, I think it's safe to say we'll test something down here. And if we break above 460, we'll test some areas around here. Again, it's not advice, but for the most part, that's what it looks like. All right, let me get back to my red list. I like my red list. Let's see what we got here. I just put you in here. Actually, let me sort this again. I like to have the most expensive there. Already did CMG. Starbucks. Let's talk about Starbucks. This one is very fun. I did this one in paper trade because I don't trade Starbucks enough to trust it yet. But this one, we are still on top of the CEO repositioning. That new CEO stepped in. We created that gap, and that CEO pretty much didn't have a strong EPS here and coming off of week one before. So I'm curious on what happens here. Do they give us a surprise? Is the revenue going to stay up? Because they missed it here and they missed the EPS here. Don't forget they do pay dividends, so this thing can drop down on dividends, 61 cents. Not too bad for a $97 stock, but generally speaking, this earnings on next week Tuesday is probably going to tell us a lot of the story, and depending on what they report, it's either we break through here or we come back and fill the rest of this gap, which brings us to $78. More risk to reward down to that side. I was trying to play this gap at first, but then I switched position when we kind of did this quasi Morningstar type of setup, and we had a nice little push to that upside. So we'll see what happens there. Let's see. Chevron. Let's talk about Chevron, and what I want to talk about on Chevron. Actually, I'm gonna get rid of these drawings. Before I get rid of it, nice classic trend line. Trend line breaks. You realize that they're coming down, but eventually there's got to be some steam. Either they take out this area over here, or they continue to hold some support. That's what happened. We created a micro trend right on top of an order block, and then we did a bump and run rejection that turned into a reversal. A lot of bump and runs can turn into reversals, right? So I'm gonna get rid of these drawings. Nice move by CVX, but I want to kind of point out the indicator I kind of created, which is market dominance. And what it does, it tries to anticipate where the next candle is going to be. Is it going to be green or red? We had a massive drop down here, and you could see they're anticipating a green candle here. It did not last long. This was the bounce, but you could tell that the bears had more support. So we bounced almost $1 right off the open of this candle, and yesterday they just continued to do the sell-off. Now the question is, because we made a massive move and a lot of green candles, I'm going to go over to the weekly. Could this be a fib retracement? Because they're looking for a level for them to bounce. Actually, let me change this to my main so we can get to better levels. Well, they didn't hold the 236, so maybe the 382. Well, we got a 50 EMA on the weekly right here, so they could come back to 153, then reverse. Earnings is coming up. It's going to be on January 31st. So that can kind of play against it a little bit. So just kind of be cautious there. But again, this is CVX. Oil, the way oil moves will affect it. But again, they do have other products they do. So just make sure you're paying attention to your chart and not just one bias. All right. So this one looks very interesting. We're up pre-market, so they could try to eat up some of that sell side liquidity. If they get above 161, I almost want to think that they're going to try 164, and I think we start to head towards the all-time highs. Yeah, towards, but yeah, we're kind of a distance away. 189 is the all-time high. So very interesting spot. I like CVX. That's why it's on my list. All right, let's see. Do I have anything else? Pan W. I feel like I missed the boat on Pan W because I was a little hesitant on this order block. Really good ticker. If you don't know who they are, they're in cybersecurity. When CrowdStrike was having problems because of their debacle by rolling out an update and shut down the whole entire airport network for about a day, Microsoft was the one that kind of dealt with the problems, or blunt end of it, but it was really CrowdStrike's implementation that caused it. So CrowdStrike dumped at that point. So a lot of people, I think, already shifted and went to like PanW, Snowflake, and other cybersecurity companies. But PanW is one of the stronger ones. They always led the space. So I think after the split, this was your first test. I don't want to say this is a good time to invest into a PanW, but this is probably a good time to kind of watch PanW, because if it can catch some type of support and hold it, you could probably dollar cost average yourself in if you're looking for something that's a good, strong company that doesn't look like it's going to go out of business tomorrow. And PanW could be that. Nice little bounce off the 50 EMA on the weekly. If you go over to the monthly, look at that. Nice little order block. What was previous resistance turns into support. This is that test. We got 8 days until this candle closes. Could this be strong enough to hold it right here? Again, it's kind of like in no man's land on some of these oscillators up here. But if you go to the daily, this is that curl up. I don't think it's ready. We might get one more test of this order block. But if we can get that test, maybe we could get a nice little push to that upside. So we'll see what PanW does. Anything under 164, it's probably going to turn a little bit more bearish. as people are starting to scale out of their position because of this split. So just make sure you mark your charts up. Hey, good morning, good morning. Like I said, if you got any tickets, go ahead and put it in the chat. We got, what else I got for y'all? What else I got for y'all? I got red list. I already did my volume there. Oh, let's talk about Goldman Sachs. Now, Goldman Sachs, what I like about where Goldman Sachs is right now is that we had a nice little push up here, right? Solid push. But now, after that earnings gap, I think there's some profit taking going to happen. And I'm starting to notice something here, right? That is a doji. And most times dojis on the top of a trend turns into a reversal. I'll give you some examples. Let's pull back a little bit. Here is not a doji. Let's go. Okay, so we got ourselves downtrend, 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 hammer doji, right? This one is a nice little pin bar, kind of pushed up. Let's get another example. All right, we're towards the top. They try to put one in here. They try to put one in here. And then that's when you got a nice little push. And then they found a level that they were comfortable with. Another doji. So this is showing that they're showing some support. We push up. Doji before 2 red candles. So I'm thinking, right, that this doji that we put in yesterday is going to put some pressure on the buy side liquidity. So we got a nice little, let's put this out a little bit, right? So where do we get our bounce? Do we get our bounce at 236? Maybe. Do we get our bounce at 382? Possibly. If it gets around this 50%, around 622, might be a little bit of a problem. Hey, peace and blessings. How you doing, Neil? Good morning. Right? So if we get one of these type of bounces, possibly, and then we could get ourselves a nice little 1, 2 punch, and then they try to go for more highs. But again, this is all-time highs. So just make sure you temper your risk, temper your management, because anybody down here starts to take their profits, it's going to be you holding the bag. All right, boom, boom, boom. So let's take a nice little profit taking fib here. Start from here. Let's get it up in here. Let's go ahead and put it on profit taking. 714. That's kind of deep right there. If we can hold these supports, this level here, and we continue to make highs, very possible we could get 700 for psychological level, or we could get 714 on Goldman Sachs. Again, just make sure you're plotting out your levels so that way you don't get any surprises. They have dividends coming up, so you're going to have some catalysts that's going to probably have adverse effect here. So February 25th, so I would say if you're taking a shot, it has to be past that date. That way you can get some recovery time. But again, make sure you mark off your levels. Make sure you mark off your support. What I'm looking for to possibly trade is, because I think I was looking at, was it Lulu or was it Ulta? Because I know I was looking at Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly was doing some funny stuff. I looked at it and I thought this downward trend was going to put some pressure. We had a nice little move here. If we take another deviation of this downtrend, you got that, and then you got that here, kind of like that. And come on, get there, right? So we're starting to break out, like we want to get back out from this upper register, because we already broke this angle of the downtrend, because here's our low, this is that pivot that created it, and we kind of consolidated, perfect bump and run type of play, try to break out of this one, came back down, but we're failing to break support here. And that's the one that's kind of like, you know, creating a little interest. I really think if we really held below here, we probably would have filled, oh, not there, here. Not only we filled the gap, we would have held under here and then just kind of pushed into this level, but they kind of took out all that sell side liquidity that was in this candle, and now we're here. So very interested on what Eli Lilly does here. Like I said, in the healthcare space, a lot of these companies that's doing all these weight loss drug stuff, profits are being taken right now from the investors and shareholders. So just keep that in mind. And then I'm gonna do Lulu anyways. Here's Lululemon. I was really thinking we was gonna go ahead and just have, all right, we try to get to the gap. All right, cool. Can't get to the gap. We should just go ahead and fall. The EMAs are like dancing. They're kind of like, I don't want to say they're bullish because it doesn't look bullish to me. I don't want to say it's bearish. It doesn't look bearish. I think we could consolidate right here. If you don't know Lululemon, Lululemon is that one that was during the pandemic. It kind of spiked up. Everybody was at home. They kind of got all this great houseware for Lululemon. But we came back down to support here. They're good for their athletic wear. A lot of people wear, especially the women. But yeah, I think this thing is trying to find a way to reverse to the upside. That's what I'm like 45% sure probably up. But what I don't like about it is that we're sitting on a current fair value gap on this weekly. And if we go to the daily, that is this gap up after earnings. So my question to the market, or my chart in this case, or how I kind of plot everything out, if this thing actually holds this level, right, and holds above the block, hold above the gap, we're going to get ourselves a test of all these levels. If we get the test, maybe we get to 400 and then it rejects, and then we go back to our scheduled program. The daily stochastic is down here. We're still kind of in the bullish side. So could we get one more push as they try to get out here, make an attempt to the gap? But there's sellers that's sitting here saying, hell no, we're not going to let you get through the gap. That's the one that I have the question. So we're kind of like in a no man's land kind of range. So we're going to see what happens there. All right. So I think I covered quite a bit. No one else has any tickers. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of recap what I'm looking for in market dominance on NQ. So on NQ, I like using market dominance on the 45 minute. That is my preference. Right now on the 45 minute, I don't have anything. We had a nice low drop. That was that major move roughly around 3 a.m. going into London session, and it found some support and has been pushing ever since. So nice little push to the upside, never really extended down. So I think this was part of that reversal, profit taking. So we'll see what happens with this resistance area, which was yesterday's previous opening range breakout on the 15 minute, to see if we could get below and hold. So we could get some more lower levels. If I come over to the 15 minute and do almost the same exercise, you see massive move roughly around 330 going into 345. They wicked it, probably some liquidation sweep that's happening here, but either way it's anticipating that we was going to hold up at this point. So that's how I kind of use it and kind of hold those levels. All right, what else we got? Let's see if we can find ourselves a decent setup of a trade. I am concerned that we haven't broke through this area yet. Let me go log myself in to my accounts. Let's see here and here.
Jeffrey!
What's going on? How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm smooth out here, baby. Smooth out here.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. You sound like you off. You off?
Huh?
You off?
And you, hey man, listen, I'm always on, baby. I'm never off.
Nah, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah, remember, Jeff, things are like change. Sometimes you elevate, and from there, once you can elevate to a certain set level,
Hmm.
you can achieve and participate in certain things. Like I already got, a quick little morning workout in real fast, cold shower, got some slow drip coffee, sipping on, looking at the charts. I'm geared up, fired up and ready.
There was something that you said in the middle there. It sounded like you said something and it went womp womp womp. But what was that one? It sounded like, was that work?
Morning workout.
Work? Oh,
Morning workout.
jeez. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. I gotta find somebody's gym. I gotta find somebody's gym. I gotta go.
Hey, this morning, all I did, I pulled a jump rope out. I didn't even leave the house. Just hit the jump rope real quick and got up out of there. Did two good 20
Nah, I
minutes
can't be
on that.
comfortable at home. I got to pull myself out the house, so I'm gonna grab the controller and probably play some video
See, here's
games.
the thing, right? You know, sometimes we have to make things efficient and best for us. And leaving the house is what I like to do, but I can't always do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah,
Especially
yeah.
in this
So,
cold weather.
man, it's ugly out here, dog. They got ice all over the road and stuff. It's still kind of little. Yee, you gotta sit still.
What's the temperature there?
Currently 31. We got down to 29 last night, so we still got ice. We actually got snow.
Yeah, Florida got it. It's the North Florida, not my way, but North Florida got
Yeah, yeah.
snow. Yeah.
See, I had a feeling that was the case. These people try to make it seem like the whole Florida got snow. I said, man, Florida they're pretty much connected to Georgia in the sense, and I'm like, I'm sure that's where it
Yeah, it's
happened at
southern
today.
Georgia. When you when you get across, I would say when you get under Orlando, it's not southern Georgia anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, this consolidation is just annoying. We're gonna have to wait till the market open before we can make any decision at all. This is this is junk. This is pure junk. So what you got for oil? I know you kind of
Uh,
eyeballing oil.
I got it pulling back today, or like kind of close the week out in the uptrend, right?
Hmm.
But overall, if you go to the weekly setup, I believe we are bearish, and we're gonna go down.
Yeah, I feel that too, but I have a CVX position that I'm eyeballing, but I trimmed profits because I knew what it could do, but I was looking for a better bounce on this from the week. Oh yeah, that thing looks like an evening star. Let's get rid of this line here. Got a day, 2 days, which is today and then tomorrow for us to get through, and we tried to get up there. We tried, and that's a major rejection.
Mm.
So we might come through this whole block. That's what you're thinking. Maybe under 74, under 72.
Yeah, because you see that come on, that with that last week rejection, that hammer at the top of the uptrend, then when we coming in with this bearish candle, so with the new administration, we plan on drilling, so we're going to add more supply to the chain here, and that's going to give us some leverage.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I don't
we
think
would
it's
have
gonna get
won.
back to $67. That's not the case.
Nah, they're gonna find a happy medium. We will see some low prices for the moment until they get that happy medium going on, and then we'll kind of elevate from there. But yeah, just sit to still, see what's shaking.
Maximum $71. Max actually 72, 70, 73 is the lowest we'll come down. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I like to let the cheese slide until it hit the floor. Okay, so wherever the cheese land, that's where we playing.
That's where you
Okay,
pick it up.
yeah, yeah. So
All right, fair enough. No problem, no problem. All right, we got
yeah,
ourselves less than 90. Is it 90 seconds? Hold on, let me come up to
I'm waiting
NQ.
on. I'm looking at Apple.
Apple's been getting its butt whipped. It
You
needs a
know,
bounce.
it's been doing it.
Oh,
It's
it's doing it
doing it.
now?
It's doing it and doing it and doing it right. They doing it and doing it and doing it right. Hey.
Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Situations. Hey,
that
Apple
looks
doing it.
that looks good.
Daddy, Melissa turned off the laptop because the laptop
Yes,
is.
sir. So it's in a gap. I'm trying to. I'm gonna see what the opening bell say and see what he thinks about it. And see if it holds. And I'm taking play. AMD got rejected out the gap yesterday. I wish I would have held my position a little bit more. That probably would have been a 10x contract, right? If I would have held it overnight. But I was like, this is good right here. It was playing around. It wasn't doing what it's supposed to do right away. But that's on me. I still took profit, so the win is a win. Uh, yeah. Mm.
All right, we're here. We come. Here we come. New market open. Getting that open now. See what happens.
Okay, we got 1 minute.
Almost. Probably a little bit less than that. We come over to NQ. But yeah, they're trying to get into that gap. We got 14 seconds. This one kind of shocked me though. Oops. Put that back. Oh no, I just moved my freaking alert. That's one thing they gotta fix on TradingView. I just moved my alert and I didn't mean to move it, and I have no idea. I think it probably is gonna be here. I'm gonna have to do a double check. The biggest problem that I have with Apple was that it was under. Yeah, I think it was this one. We was under the 50 EMA, and I was like, I can't. I am not going to go against the 50 EMA while we're under the MACD at this point. So I was like, holy crap, this thing could probably really fall. And I didn't take it in that regard. So that was our bear flags right there. And that's the one that broke out. And we kind of made this gap. I think they're a better company than $219. So I'm a little confused on why it's down this low. So I think this is them just scaring and shaking some people off. And we're probably going to get this Apple ride.
Big Nancy sold off.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah.
No.
Nancy
Remember, it's
sold
not Nancy. It's her husband. You can't say that.
Hey, listen, we know what time it is, baby. I ain't gonna sit here and sugarcoat it now. You know, big Nancy don't ain't bear none. Feel me? The Pelosi's. We can put it at that. We'll say the Pelosi's sold 31,000 shares. You feel what I'm talking about? Between the price
they cashed in their
5
check.
million and 25 million. And they did that back in December. Okay, trade happened December the 31st of 2024. They didn't have to file it until January 17th. You feel me? So yeah, Big Nancy offloaded a crap load of shares, and she pretty much could be buying it back up, or she's shifting her money, rotating it into different programs, stuff like that. So that's what you're looking at. When you get about 25 million removed from, the said organization, that can really make the sun shake. You feel what I'm talking about now? There ain't no paperweight right there, baby.
It put a lot of weight on the market with the action that they did. A lot of weight. So I think that's why NQ is at these levels. But like I said, 15-minute Elliott wave has already happened. I want to see what they do with this because I'm very curious, because I'm considering trying to play this back to the upside, but we'll see what happens. All right, so first 15 minutes of the market, it looks like we're rejecting yesterday's breakout to the downside, and we are currently as low as here, and it's only 2 minutes in, so this is not official yet. And we are here. Oop, not you. We are here. So we'll be bullish above this level. That will be a strong bullish too, because we'll clear out a lot of this sell side liquidity and accumulation. That will be fun. We're kind of bearish here, so this could still continue downside. What's your thoughts? You think downside, Neo?
What you looking at? NQ?
15-minute NQ.
That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. We really don't got no news like that, so damn, Apple in that gap.
Oh, Goldman Sachs is taking another stab to that upside. Let me go check on my paper trade. We're about to get to that 640. Let me go see how that looks.
Now they're creating an island gap here. So now we got an island gap situation.
You saying an island gap situation on Apple?
Yeah.
Let's
So
see.
from the initiation of the gap of 224 to now we got a secondary gap at 223.99. So they created an island gap on the bottom side. That later on this will be a decent target to fill. So now what I want to see with this open bell retracement here, we a couple of minutes in right now. Where we at? We 3 minutes into the market. I want to see what's going to be shaking. We on the 4th minute now. Let's see if we get some type of a decent retracement back to a moving average or a test of the gap. I want to see them at least test the gap and see if we're going to hold inside of this, or will a primary target be fill the bottom side gap and then continue up. So let's see the game in play. I like to see this.
Yeah, I can see what you mean by that, especially when you say you got an island gap type of move here. Especially we already
Yes,
coming
sir.
from a gap, so that makes things very interesting. So being inside of that candle with the 15 minute, it needs a retracement. You need the stochastic to kind of cool down so it can allow buyers to get in. So I think that's the game that they're trying to play. Oh, Goldman Sachs hit 640. It hit
Yeah,
640.
yeah. I
That's what I
think
like to see.
yeah, they heated. Let's see. I want to see them touching some moving averages. Come on, hold the move, baby.
Hmm.
Hold the move. Okay. Who we at? Okay, what's two? Okay, that's a little. hmm, Let me put up some more.
And let my peoples know.
Okay, we lit now. Okay, retesting. That's pretty strong.
All
Okay.
right, so let's go back over to Apple that you were looking at, and then we'll go ahead and check out that opening range on NQ right at. Oh, that retrace. I think they gonna do one of these where it curls at the top side of the register of the stochastic. Could probably get that. Let me see. Let me look left. Oh, that's why we're getting that. We're getting a little bit of a rejection out of order block.
Well, I took me a quick little play, a little snap at it. I'm gonna see what it do if they hold this said
Mm-hmm.
level or not.
Mm-hmm.
They go below 24 to open the level. I'm gonna cut. If not, I'm just hold steady. I think they want to retest that one of the 20 EMA.
Yeah, they're trying to find their footing. That's what that looks like to me. Let's check out NQ.
Hospital. Oh,
All right, NQ. We got a readjustment of our upper area. Look like they're trying to recapture 21,900. They're gonna have to stair step this thing because that thing still looks bearish down here on this 15 minute. Let me see the 2 hour. 2 hour looks fatigued. 4 hour, 45 minute. Could get a nice little curl in my 45 minute. Then we could probably explode. And last one, 15 minute. Yeah. I think you need NQ to push up, and it's probably going to drag Apple with it because Apple is finding its footing. Let me see what Tesla's doing. Does I have Tesla in this one? No, I don't. Let's
I
look at
need Apple
Tesla.
to hold. I need Apple to hold his own weight. Okay.
And no,
See,
I agree, but it's not going to be attractive if that thing doesn't try to fill that gap. So what I'm saying is, you're coming into the open, and the first thing you're seeing is they're trying to refill the gap from yesterday. Good solid inside bar reversal. So I did follow your thesis on that regard, and I'm looking to them for them to capture at least up into that 229. But they do have a lot of junk that they gotta go through.
let's go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, we'll see what this minute count close like. Should we get some respect on it? Put some respect on it. Birdman hand rub. Birdman hand rub. Can we get some respect?
Mm. Let's see.
Yeah.
Get a man what he needs. Give him what he needs. All right. So we
As
got.
we proceed, give you what you need. I could have got it
Actually,
cheaper.
you know what I had
Okay.
never done? Opening range
Mhm.
breakout on stocks itself. Like I've toyed with it when I first started doing
Yeah.
opening range. Have you ever did one on like an Apple per se?
Mm-mm. I normally avoid the opening range.
Okay.
I just typically Apple. You gotta beat that thing. Gotta move with him when it's ready. You like real talk because they'll trap you into a forever loop of slow mediocrity because it's a value stock, right? They want to buy and hold it. So in those said situations,
Mm-hmm.
people will slow roll it. So when it got action, it got action. So you got to be there when the action's there. So yeah, that's why today when I seen action, I'm like, okay, I'm in there because people are willing. They're willing to deal. They're
Yeah.
making deals. Now if they don't, then you got to go ahead, make it do what it do.
So
So you got
it
the
could
market.
consolidate at one of these points. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's why you can't play with it.
Got you.
You play around
Makes
with these
sense.
folks.
Makes sense. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I still don't see what sucks with today because today I said I was gonna take a trade with everybody on here, but technically I took a trade yesterday, so we kind of had some fun yesterday.
Listen, don't pull the muscle, my boy. If it ain't done, it ain't done.
Yeah, but I'm trying to structure the show a little bit. I'm like, okay, what, on Tuesdays we'll paper trade. On Wednesdays we'll do like a light little warm up trade, and then
Oh, that was
the
good.
true trade will be on Thursday. But the market doesn't care about your schedule. It has no feelings for you.
No, it don't. See, and that's the whole point of this, right?
Hmm.
You're so busy about just, making something happen that you don't see something, then it's best not to live it. And you can like, all right, you just want to do something. Paper trade is cool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I won't ever just simply force something just because to prove a point. Because you make your wig lopped off when you didn't have to.
Oh, and the market doesn't care. Oh, you know what? He's such a nice guy. He has this great YouTube video, so we're gonna give him exactly what he needs, so that way he can look good. And don't do that. I promise y'all, it don't. It don't care. Oh, somebody sent me a video today, and I was like, oh my god, I felt so bad. You didn't get into that? None of those Donald Trump things, right? Those Reddit stuff like the Trump coin and DJT.
All right, man, hell yeah, I got into that Trump coin, baby.
Oh, you got it in?
Break. Hell yeah.
I did not
Man,
get
listen.
in.
What? Man, I was in on that. I said, shh. I got Melania flop. I ain't gonna cap with you. That was a flop.
So there
I
is
look-
really a Melania coin.
Yes, it is, but it ain't doing nothing. Ain't got no weight.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I may have to cut that one. I'm just holding on to it, only down $2, so I'm ain't tripping.
Did it ever explode to the upside?
It did a little pop, drop and roll type situation, but there's nothing that was worth it. That's the time. Like, I'm gonna just see what it do.
Which one is it? The one with
Like,
Binance? Millennia Tether?
I haven't locked it because I got it on crypto.com, so I haven't really just found a chart for it per se. So I'm just like, I'll just watch it on crypto.com on my side of my wallet.
Oh. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah. So if somebody put their life savings in that, they crazy. They need. That's why I spoke on
That's
that
what they
last night.
sent me. It was DJT. You remember this thing that everybody was going
No.
crazy with when he was first president? It's supposed to be the new Twitter, and they were expected for it to shoot up to like $40, but they didn't follow any technical analysis. It was all on Hopium, and y'all seen how I broke down Hopium. Hopium will get you killed.
Well, the thing is, when you keep expecting one thing to make you rich because you refuse to get it the slow way, the fast way always leads to destruction.
Always, not sometimes. Always.
So when you keep looking for the get rich quick scheme, you're gonna get poked faster. And that's no one problem with a lot of people that enter the market. They looking to get rich quick versus attain wealth slowly.
Yeah.
This is a slow, steady grind, a backwards and forward type situation, right? We don't always get what we want when we want it. We get what we can, how we get it.
Yeah.
Now, you cannot see past yourself in your own personal greed. You'll forever suffer in this game. It's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. You must get what you can get, be satisfied, take your L's, and learn from them. Crazy enough, I heard this quote from RDC, right? They're talking about, currently they're getting sued by your boy uh, Arbery,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he says the biggest L's guys take is by not taking an L, right? You take bigger L's by not simply accepting the initial L.
Oh, which
If
goes back
you
to
can,
that book, Best Loser Wins, which is really, really, really good book for traders. I
mhm,
love that book. You gotta accept the losses. You gotta cut them quick so that way you can find a better spot, find a better place, and then you
yep,
can't get caught inside of this whole entire hopium. You don't practice enough in your paper trade. You probably could have a very profitable trade because you took somebody else's trading strategy, but your failure is what drops you off of this hopium cliff. And then you're like, oh my God, where's my money? Oh my God, my life savings, my wife is going to be mad at me. All of that stuff. That's because you just lived on hope. Can't do that. Can't do that. Like you got to be able to accept that loss and just be able to move on with your life and just continue.
yeah. See, Apple tanking. I heard him cut that position. That was a good exit for me.
Oh yeah, it's still inside the box. It's still doing this thing. Listen, folks. I know I said that on Thursdays we're gonna find a good trade. There is no trade right now. It's just zero trades. So this is one of those things that's just it is exactly what it is. Maybe we got to get out of tech now. Meta is making some moves. It is up a little bit, like $2 from where its previous close. Um, Apple's still up, but it's not showing anything. So I don't like it's so called up.
So now they testing the gap. Now this is where
Oh, they
this is
tested the lower gap.
yeah, they testing it now. So I'm gonna see if they hold here. I'm now. This is good for me. I could want to cut that one position. I can get a club position closer to the money for a cheaper cost.
It looked like it's catching some support.
Mm-hmm.
So for the opening range breakout that I'm looking for NQ, I'm looking for a 5 minute close above this area. Oops, actually, I'm gonna move this up right here.
Okay, we touching it. Let's see.
They pulled it back again because I'm seeing NQ kind of pulling back a little.
I'm just gonna see if they I want to see a close above the 20. Get rid of this.
Okay.
I want to see they get a close above the 20 EMA. We have a solid rejection candle, so let's see what this next candle do. Put in a little bit over.
All right. So this is our levels. This is where we are right now. So this is pretty much a class from 8:45 to 9:45. So I appreciate everybody. I gotta run out of here. So for NQ, we need to be above 21,916 or below 21,866 for our opening range breakout. If you want to take a test with some paper trade, same thing with Apple. I'm probably going to go ahead and test this while I'm at the office, see if we can get a break below and see if we can play this to the downside under 224 or above 226. So we will see what happens. That said, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell button and let your friends know that I have free one-on-ones for the month of January. So go ahead and sign up. The link is down below on YouTube. Follow me on DM JD _ the great, and I will see y'all next week. Don't forget Saturday's mindset, and I'm gonna be sending out the links for mindset. Jump on in. It's gonna get you right. See y'all. Peace and blessings, right, Neil?
Yeah, peace and blessings.
Later.